What does it mean to cancel a policy? I whispered during my lunch break at work, trying to keep my voice down after realizing I had been too loud on the phone. I didn't make any such arrangements, I said, feeling puzzled and frustrated. My mind went blank. The insurance company representative on the other end, a woman, remained calm despite my distress. According to our records, we received a request for policy cancellation from your end, and the procedure has been completed, she said. I had been subscribed to a savings-oriented life insurance policy. My sister-in-law, Rachel, an insurance agent with demanding quotas, had persuaded me to get an insurance policy that was more expensive than the market rate. I'm Stella, a 40-year-old office worker living in an apartment with my husband and daughter. Today has been tough from the start. My husband announced he was going on an overnight business trip as soon as he woke up and started packing his bags. Our daughter, Amy, began fussing over her missing math textbook. Amy is only in first grade, so her need for help is expected, but when my husband starts fussing about his missing travel bag and new socks, it can be quite a handful. I've been contemplating divorce for a while due to our relationship being on the rocks for the past year, and this kind of thing just adds to the irritation. Why don't you both prepare the day before? I blurted out, unable to contain my frustration. Amy obediently apologized and promised to be more careful next time. I softened my tone. That's okay, honey. I should have helped you check it yesterday. I'm sorry. My husband, however, was different. Amy is still young. If you were taking care of everything, she wouldn't be in this mess. And if you had bought me new socks, I wouldn't be complaining like this. I was furious at his petty complaints. I had no idea about your business trip. There are freshly laundered socks in the drawer. Isn't that okay? I like to wear brand new socks when I'm on a business trip. What's with that weird fixation? I thought, but kept my thoughts to myself. He goes on these overnight business trips maybe once every few months. His company must have scheduled it in advance. He just didn't bother telling me. If he needed new socks, he could have bought them himself or at least told me ahead of time. Amy looked like she was about to cry and said, Mom, Dad, stop arguing. I turned to her and said, I'm sorry, Amy. It's all right. Let's find your textbook together. My husband resumed his packing in silence, and I helped Amy with her backpack. I sneaked a glance at him and noticed he was packing more casual clothes instead of his usual business attire. Is he cheating again? I wondered. Something felt off. He had cheated on me twice before. The first time was right before Amy was born. I thought about divorce then, but he begged and cried for forgiveness, even getting our in-laws involved. My mother-in-law pleaded with me to stay with her son, and my sister-in-law Rachel implored me not to abandon her brother. So, I decided against the divorce, but then last year he cheated on me again. It was the same story, a girl he met on a dating app. My husband is the type to blurt out whatever comes to his mind, and his actions are quite transparent. He thinks he's keeping his actions secret, but it's almost as if he isn't even trying to hide anything. In an instant, he's busted, and there he is again, apologizing profusely while weeping, even though he usually struts around with such arrogance. Seeing him crying with his nose running is just pitiful. I swear, if there's another issue, we're done, I declared to my husband. I made him fill out the divorce papers, transfer all of our savings into my account, and though I forgave him, any love I have for him has completely vanished. My husband always puts himself first. I can't forgive him for not caring for our daughter Amy or spending time with her, but I plan to endure until Amy gets a bit older before getting a divorce. In the end, Amy's math textbook was easily found inside her backpack. Amy left for school full of joy, but I was completely drained from the morning ordeal. I didn't have time to prepare my packed lunch, so I went to a deli near my office during my lunch break. That's when a poster from an insurance company caught my eye, and I suddenly remembered that my policy was the kind where you receive a celebratory cashback after a certain period. I think it should be deposited any time now. I'm paying a hefty premium every month after all. Without such little joys, I wouldn't be able to continue. I wondered what I'd use the money for once it came in. I could buy Amy some new fall clothes. I started to feel a little excited. With a spring in my step, I dropped by the bank to update my passbook and found that not only was there no celebration money, but this month's insurance premium hadn't been deducted yet. That's strange. Isn't the premium supposed to be deducted the same month I received the bonus? Initially, I was simply baffled, but recalling my husband's shady actions this morning, I had a bad feeling and decided to call the insurance company. It turns out Rachel, my sister-in-law, was off for the day. Another woman picked up and filled me in, revealing the cancellation of my policy. She said the cancellation fee had already been paid, but I didn't see any such deposit in my account. The lady on the phone kept insisting that all paperwork was in order and that the insurance company had done everything by the book. It would be a huge issue if the policy was canceled without my consent. It felt like she was indirectly implying that the insurance company wasn't at fault. Let me make this very clear. I had absolutely no intention of canceling my policy. I'll check with Rachel and my husband, but you with the insurance company better confirm with Rachel too. I stuck it to them, then hung up. Before I knew it, lunch break was almost over. I didn't even have time to eat the lunch I'd brought from the deli, but my appetite was gone anyway, and I had other matters to attend to. I asked my boss if I could leave early, then I got down to completing the remainder of my work. I left the office a bit earlier than usual and immediately called my husband's cell phone. If he really was busy working and couldn't answer the call, that's just how it would have to be. Stella, why are you calling me? I'm at work. After a few rings, my husband picked up the phone despite grumbling that he was at work. There was upbeat, merry music playing in the background. I wondered why my husband thought he wouldn't get caught. This is absurd. I'm sorry about that. Hey, my life insurance was canceled without my consent, and there's no cash value. Do you know anything about this? I'm thinking I might have been scammed and I'm considering going to the police. What? The police? What the hell are you thinking? It was me, okay. I had suspected it was the work of my husband and Rachel, so I exaggerated my claims. My husband was startled and immediately confessed. I was somewhat relieved, but my anger began to rise. Oh, really? It was you? Where's the cash value then? I used it to support my mom. Support? Did something happen to my mother-in-law? Did she suddenly need money? No, she just said she wanted to take a family trip to the holiday resorts every now and then. A trip. I was surprised at the unexpected words. You canceled my life insurance without my consent for something like that. You used it for travel expenses. The business trip was a lie. Yeah, I'm the beneficiary, so I don't see a problem. We're all going to stay in a luxury hotel. I'm in the lobby right now, and there's an amazing chandelier. Maybe he thought it was okay to open up because he got caught already. My husband bragged in an excited tone. What the heck? I have a complaint. I have a lot of complaints. Why did you cancel without my consent? I'm the one paying the premium from my own salary, right? You guys should be able to afford your own travel expenses. Oh, shut up. After all, if something happens to you, I'm the one who gets the money, so it's my money. You're healthy, and you're not going to die anytime soon. You can just take out another policy. I can't make sense of my husband's arguments at all. Doesn't he realize that as you get older, insurance premiums increase? Well, I guess I'm not the one paying. His irresponsible words gave me a headache. Do your parents and Rachel know that you canceled my life insurance without my consent? Did my father-in-law say anything? And Rachel must be an accomplice. You and Rachel forged my signature and stamped it, didn't you? Yeah, my mom and dad were happy about it and thought it was a good idea. After all, you're the one holding all our money, so it's your fault. I wanted to take a break and have some fun once in a while. It's fine, right? We're on a family trip and everyone's happy. By family, you mean your parents and Rachel, right? What about Amy and me? Isn't your family supposed to include us too? Insurance is for emergencies and I'd prefer not to use it. Shouldn't you have consulted me before using it for travel expenses? Because you would definitely say no. You and Amy are always together, so it's okay to have a change. Plus, Rachel said she wanted to set up a new life insurance policy for you, so I thought it was like killing two birds with one stone. That's convenient for you all, isn't it? Unbelievable. You're trying to justify this by making excuses. Aren't you embarrassed behaving like this? You're making it hard to talk with all your anger. What a pain. If you keep this up, I wouldn't mind getting a divorce. I bet you wouldn't follow through. Perhaps being in a tourist spot has emboldened him. My husband sounds more assertive than usual. Understood, I said, hanging up the phone. Get ready. I'm going to take action against my in-laws and my husband for everything that's happened, I muttered to myself. My patience had worn thin. My husband had taken my forgiveness for granted, repeatedly threatening divorce while continuing his disrespectful behavior. I had believed my in-laws were decent people and thought Rachel wasn't so bad despite her push for a costly life insurance policy. But no reasonable person would unilaterally cancel their daughter-in-law's life insurance and misuse the funds. This is what I get for marrying into this family. I'll sever all ties with them. I went straight to the courthouse. I kept the divorce papers my husband had filled out in my bag like a protective charm. I submitted them without hesitation and then went to pick up my daughter Amy from her after-school program. On the way home, I told Amy about the divorce. She was initially surprised, but after I explained it carefully, she accepted it. When we got home, Amy asked, "So Dad isn't coming back home anymore?" "Your dad won't be back tonight because he's on a business trip. We're getting divorced, so we'll be living separately, but we still need to prepare for that," I explained, trying to address her confusion. "Then let's start packing right away. Hurry." "Ha! What's going on?" "Well, you're breaking up with Dad, right? You don't have to cry anymore. I don't like him because he's always mad." "Wait, Amy, were you trying to stop us from fighting because you didn't want me to be sad?" "Of course. I had planned to stay in the marriage for Amy's sake, but it seemed she had been enduring the situation to protect me. The reason she always tried to intervene in our fights was simply because she was worried about me. Dad never plays with me, even on his days off. He just tells me to go away whenever I try to talk to him. He only uses me to say mean things to you, like he did this morning. I've always been sad because I love you, Mom." Amy's slight smile cut through me like a knife. It was clear that not only had I seen through my husband's selfishness, but Amy had too. Realizing how deeply my husband's behavior had affected her broke my heart, and I felt tears welling up. "I'm so sorry, Amy. I didn't realize how much you've been going through. From now on, it'll just be the two of us, but I promise to take good care of you. I love you so much." Yay! Determined not to let Amy be unhappy again, I threw myself into organizing our new life. While she worked on her homework, I contacted a lawyer, searched for realtors and movers online, and reached out to my parents. When I explained the situation, they urged, "Come back home right away. Amy doesn't need to change schools." My father offered to borrow a truck and help with the move the next morning. I notified the landlord and the elementary school, letting them know we'd be commuting from my parents' home and would handle the school paperwork gradually. I'd also called work to take a vacation day so I could get everything sorted before my husband returned. The next day, my parents arrived, and we swiftly moved our belongings to their home. By the time my husband came back, everything was already packed and only his things remained in the apartment. I left a note saying, "We are divorced. We are now strangers," and then left the apartment. I imagined his shock when he came home and found us gone. It felt like a small victory. The smoothness of this process was thanks to the research I had done during his previous affair. I had made it clear before, next time, there will be no discussion. We'll divorce, and we had agreed that I would retain custody and all our shared assets. So my daughter and I began our new life at my parents' house. A few days later, my mother-in-law called me in a panic. Since my husband's phone was blocked, I assumed she was calling on his behalf. Given how easily he cries despite his arrogance, I imagined he was probably sobbing uncontrollably. "What do you think you're doing? You're divorcing my son even though he didn't cheat?" she yelled, her voice piercing through the phone and making me instinctively pull it away from my ear. "Stella, it's not too late. Apologize to him right now. He's been crying because he's so hurt. Aren't you embarrassed making such a fuss over this?" "Apologize? For what?" I was bewildered by her demands, and my response slipped out without thinking. "Who are you?" "Excuse me." Surprise was palpable, and she stopped speaking abruptly. I was taken aback by my own reaction but decided to follow through. "Yes, who is this? If you can't identify yourself, this could be a scam call." I decided to run with my slip of the tongue. "We're strangers now, and there's no point in having a serious conversation with people who unilaterally cancel life insurance policies." "Don't be ridiculous, Stella. If you're going to act like that, I have a few things to say myself." As expected, my mother-in-law was furious, but I was beyond caring. "What are you talking about? Do you think you can change anything?" I had a clear agreement with him. If there were any issues, we'd divorce immediately. He even confirmed it on the phone. I said, leaving her speechless. I pressed on. If he wanted to go on a trip, he should have discussed it with me. But instead, he chose to commit a crime. Is your entire family trying to end up in jail? Canceling life insurance without consent is a form of forgery. That could mean imprisonment for anywhere from 3 months to 5 years. I'm prepared to pursue this fully. I don't want to hear excuses about how poor his family is. My husband's casual approach to this situation is precisely why I can't forgive him. What? Hold on a minute. We can't have criminals in this family. Please listen to me, my mother-in-law stammered, suddenly trying to sound conciliatory. Her sudden shift in tone, triggered by the mention of imprisonment, was too little too late. I hung up and blocked all calls from my husband's family. The shock of the divorce drove my husband to quit his job and isolate himself. We resolved the life insurance issue through financial aid, a system that handles insurance disputes outside of court, and reached a favorable settlement. Rachel, my sister-in-law, faced disciplinary action and was fired from her job at the insurance company, which even made minor headlines. This scandal turned the in-laws into the talk of the town, receiving criticism from relatives who told them they had no common sense and needed to have some shame. Both my husband and Rachel are now struggling financially, and I'm living freely with my daughter Amy back at my parents' house. I'm committed to making up for the difficulties Amy faced by showering her with all the love she deserves.